In the dead of night, his wife kicks open the door only to find our MC drinking his pain away. Next to him is a trashed birthday cake, but her eyes are completely cold and lifeless. Bro, she does not care at all.
She asks if he can do anything useful for once, while he just quietly swirls his glass.
He walks over with a sad smile, asking if she wants a sip too. Shen Youchu just narrows her eyes, slaps his hand away, and tells him to go to sleep. She hits his hand so hard that most of the red wine spills right out. Honestly, that harsh slap actually wakes him up a bit. Talk about cold-hearted.
He sets down the glass and finally turns to face her properly. He tells her it is his birthday, which makes Shen Youchu freeze for just a split second.
But she goes cold again. If it is his birthday, he needs a gift. Since she did not get him one, he gives her a present instead. He reaches into the drawer by the couch, pulls out a folder, and tosses it on the table.
"This is my gift to you," he says, as her eyes land on the cover.
The words divorce agreement stare right back at her, making her instantly furrow her brows. She coldly asks what kind of game he is playing this time. He tells her that being forced into this marriage must have been exhausting, especially since she still loves her ex. "Go back to him," he says, sliding the papers right into her hands. Before she can even process it, he leans in and gently kisses her forehead. She shoves him away with pure disgust. Honestly, seeing their marriage end up like this is low-key heartbreaking. It is obvious they were never meant to spend their lives together. She snaps back that if he had thought like this years ago, they would not have suffered so long.
He admits it was his fault.
Maybe his only way out is to pay with his life. Hearing this, Shen Youchu just sneers coldly. She mocks him, asking if he actually has the guts to die. She is a total villain for this. He mutters that if he dies, he won't wait for her in the next life, but she just tells him to do it already. Shen Youchu just walks away. He watches her leave as the smile completely fades from his face. She still despises him. He shakes his head in bitter disappointment and sinks into the sofa. He reaches into the drawer again, this time pulling out a medical report. On the final page, the words terminal cancer stare back at him, suffocating the room. This changes everything. He closes his eyes, trying to process the absolute despair before slowly opening them. He shreds the medical report to pieces, letting the paper rain down onto the floor. He looks down at his wedding ring, gently rubbing the cold metal one last time. He leaves it on the table. The next morning, he packs up all his belongings and loads them into his car. Skipping breakfast entirely, he drives away from the empty villa without looking back. He drives far away.
He pulls onto the coastal highway and rolls down the window.
The cold sea breeze hits his face, messing up his hair, but he feels absolutely nothing. He jerks the steering wheel hard to the right and lets go completely. He slams the gas pedal down to the floor and then boom! The car smashes violently into the rocky cliff, completely crushing the front end. I did not see this coming. Blood pools out from beneath the driver's side onto the cold pavement. That ending is actually insane. Our main character is dead, but her soul is still floating around, and she thought death would finally free her from Shen Youchu. But for some wild reason, her spirit is literally stuck hovering around him 24/7. She floats all the way up to the 60th floor of Huanyu International, right into his office. Ever since his parents died in a tragic car accident, he has been the one running the entire business. The secretary brews him a strong coffee, and her ghost follows him right into the office. She tells him that the video conference with Weiss starts at 9:30. All the files are ready on your desk, and Shen Youchu just gives a slight nod. But then, our girl notices something major is missing from his hand. Yep, his wedding ring. See, even though Shen Youchu treated her like dirt, he never once took that ring off. But today, the wedding band on his left ring finger is completely gone, leaving only a faint red mark. And honestly, guys, this is where the heartbreak really starts sinking in. Since they are divorced, there's no point wearing it, but her ghost still feels a sudden wave of suffocation. Who knew a spirit could still feel this much pain? By the time noon rolls around, she automatically checks the clock, remembering how she spent 5 years bringing him lunch every single day. But today, there is no lunch delivery. The secretary, Lu Ruyan, seems to catch on and quickly orders some takeout for him instead.
30 minutes later, the food arrives, and she tells him to eat first.
Liu Ruyan leaves the food and walks out while Shen Youchu finishes up his work. He opens the container, but after just one bite, his brows instantly furrow.
Realizing the taste is completely different from her home cooking, he just pushes it aside.
Suddenly, his phone on the desk vibrates, and she spots a very familiar name on the screen. Without even looking up from his paperwork, he casually picks up the call and answers.
The caller asks if he is off work yet, making Shen Youchu glance down at a screen. His lips curve into a slight smile as he says, almost, and they agree to grab dinner.
Looking over the remaining files on his desk, he softly agrees to the plan. Shen Youchu speeds through his work, wraps up the documents, and heads straight out of the office.
His car pulls up at the Huaxia International Hotel in the distance.
Over there, Chen Ze adjusts his jacket, waiting for him with a warm smile. He calls out to Shen Youchu, who walks up and asks if he has been waiting long. Chen Ze casually wraps an arm around his shoulder and says, "No, I just got here." Shen Yuchu's body noticeably tenses up for a second before he quickly relaxes.
The two of them head inside to the French restaurant on the 3rd floor.
Chen Ze pulls out the chair like a gentleman and orders all of Shen Yuchu's favorite dishes. Okay, this is low-key heartbreaking because Shen Youchu literally never put food on our main character's plate. Every time she eagerly put food on his plate and looked at him with hopeful eyes,
He would just coldly tell her, "Do you have no self-respect? Can you stop wasting your energy?" Meanwhile, Chen Ze seems to be in a fantastic mood, wearing a constant smile.
as the fancy dishes are served one by one, Chen Ze maintains his perfect gentleman persona. Placing some food on his plate occasionally, he makes Shen Youchu look up and stare. He asks if his body is feeling better, proving that Shen Youchu actually knows how to care. Too bad his care is never for her, as Chen Ze continues cutting his steak, saying he is much better. He adds that it is just his old stomach issue, and eating on time keeps it from acting up. Shen Youchu points out that he did not have stomach issues in school, making Chen Ze freeze slightly. Meeting his gaze, Chen Ze says, "Back then you took such good care of me." "How could I get sick?" Shen Youchu lowers his eyes and asks, "Did he not take good care of you?" Chen Ze puts down his cutlery with a serious look, saying Wang Lin basically kept her locked down for 5 whole years. He claims he also had to force himself to stay with someone else, but they both know true love can never be faked. He says they loved each other deeply, and if Wang Lin had not forced his way between them, they would have been together 5 years ago, making Youchu sigh and admit she thinks it was all her fault. But now she has finally left him, clearing the path for them to finally be together. Youchu looks back on all the nightmare-inducing drama from 5 years ago. A wave of guilt washes over her face as she softly apologizes to Chen Ze. Chen Ze stands up, leans in close, and insists she did absolutely nothing wrong. He blames Wang Lin's powerful family for forcing them apart when they were both completely helpless. Real talk, they could not fight back, and now his gaze slowly drifts down to her lips. He leans in for a kiss, but in a total split-second reaction, Youchu instinctively flinches and turns her head away, completely dodging his kiss. Watching from afar, Wang Lin wonders what on earth she was thinking to react like that, and honestly, so do I. Could she actually be remembering his old warning to stay away from other guys after they got married? He had warned her that other men only wanted one thing and had totally impure motives. Believing he was the only one who truly loved her, Wang Lin shakes his head at his own thoughts. Talk about major coping. There is no way she still cares about anything he ever said. Chen Ze freezes up, awkwardly standing back up and apologizing for crossing the line. He acts like he forgot she's still married, but she quickly cuts in to say they got a divorce. As she says those words, Youchu unconsciously reaches for her hand. She touches her left ring finger, but the wedding ring she wore for 5 years is already gone. Only the faint mark of the ring remains, leaving Chen Ze looking absolutely shocked as he asks if it is true. He acts surprised they divorced, but Wang Lin catches a sneaky smirk. Ain't no way this guy's actually shocked. Youchu stands up, gently pulling him back down into his seat. She softly confirms it, and Chen Ze immediately grabs her hands in his. He smiles and says it is amazing news because she finally does not have to force herself anymore. He holds her hands tightly, telling her that escaping that marriage is a massive win. Bro is already planning a whole celebration, but Youchu honestly does not seem to care that much. She tells him a divorce is not really something to throw a party for. But Chen Ze raises his voice, insisting they absolutely have to celebrate this moment. He says he has been waiting 5 long years for this exact day, asking her to do it just for him.
Seeing the huge smile on his face, she cannot bring herself to ruin his mood.
Youchu agrees to head up to the 8th floor of the luxury hotel with him. As they head up after dinner, Wang Lin quietly follows right behind them. His body moves on pure instinct, even though watching them play happy couples is low-key agonizing. Once they reach the 8th floor, they run right into some familiar faces. It is Yuchu's friends drinking with a bunch of guys, and Chen Ze immediately drags her over. They head straight into their private room as blasting music shakes the entire place. Chen Ze wraps his arm around her shoulder, totally trying to claim his prize in front of everyone. Her friends start hyping them up, and the drinks keep flowing without stopping. Before long, Youchu is completely wasted and can barely even stand straight. Squinting at her watch, she mutters that it is midnight and she needs to head home. She complains that Wang Lin hates when she stays out late and is always controlling her. Calling it super annoying, she does not realize Chen Ze is hovering nearby, listening to every word. His expression instantly darkens as he aggressively wraps his arm around her waist. He coaxes her, calling her childish since they are already divorced anyway. Now that there is no one left to control her, she does not need to avoid alcohol anymore. She closes her eyes with a bitter smile, agreeing that those old rules do not matter now. They are officially divorced, and there is really no going back for them. Looking at how happy he seems, she realizes her years of love meant nothing to him. She did not get a single shred of love back, stumbling as she takes a glass. She accepts a drink from the crowd and downs it in one go, completely heartbroken. Droplets of alcohol escape her lips, sliding down her neck in a pretty wild visual. Chen Ze stares, absolutely captivated by how insanely gorgeous and alluring she looks right now. His throat gulped involuntarily before he quickly steps in to stop the others from pouring more. He steps in to block the remaining drinks, telling everyone that they should call it a night. Youchu is completely drunk, so he offers to take her back to rest. He supports her as they slowly make their way out of the private room. Shen Youchu silently follows him out, not saying a single word the entire time. They ride the elevator all the way to the 60th floor, stopping right in front of a hotel room. He unlocks the door with a card, and the ghost of her ex-husband has to watch this incredibly cruel scene. This is straight up torturous for him as the two of them step inside. Chen Ze helps her onto the bed and reaches to take off her outer coat. But Shen Youchu suddenly sits right up, pushing him away with cold, clear eyes. Her face shows zero emotion, leaving Chen Ze completely frozen in his tracks. He carefully asks what is wrong as she demands to get a separate room. She struggles to stand up, her head spinning as she sways on her feet. Nearly losing her balance, she stumbles all the way over to the door. She runs into the floor manager in the hallway and immediately gets him to open another private room. She locks herself in the newly opened room alone, shutting the door behind her entirely. Honestly, this plot twist is actually insane. Even the ghost did not see this unexpected move coming from her. Chen Ze's dark expression turns completely cold and filled with pure, bitter resentment. He mutters with anger that even though they are officially divorced, she is still saving herself for her ex.
The next morning, Chen Ze acts like nothing happened and plasters on a smile.
He puts on a bright, confident grin, holding Shen Youchu close as they walk out together. They take the elevator down from the 60th floor and head to the lobby. The magnificent hotel lobby is absolutely packed with people when they suddenly run into a very familiar face. Chen Ze and Shen Youchu both look over at a familiar face standing nearby. It turns out to be the hotel lobby manager, who also happens to be the ex-husband's childhood best friend. The ghost desperately tries to run over to tell his childhood friend not to get involved in this mess. But his spiritual body passes right through him, a heartbreaking reminder that he is dead. The friend stands there in a sharp black suit, his expression as cold as ice. His eyes lock onto the couple who are standing so close to each other. Xiao Jibo mocks them, asking if the female president is having fun playing around. He sneers that she has one at home while keeping a crowd outside. Her gaze darkens slightly at the sudden insult, but she chooses to remain silent. Chen Ze immediately drops his smile, stepping forward in a protective stance to shield her from his harsh words. He warns his rival that their private drama is none of his business. He claims that 5 years ago, Wang Lin used his family's influence to force her into marriage. If not for that forced marriage, they would have been together much sooner.
Besides, Wang Lin is a total nobody now. What could Shen Youchu even do for him?
He's just a shameless freeloader. Xiao Jibo stares at Shen Youchu with pure provocation.
Living off a woman? Seriously, I've never seen a single brother of mine.
Sacrifice his entire career for a woman the way Wang Lin did?
Shut up! Chen Ze glares angrily at Xiao Jibo, shouting that he knows Youchu best. I won't let you slander her! Xiao Jibo mockingly asks, under what authority?
As the homewrecker, Chen Ze snaps right back at Xiao Jibo. Youchu and I met first. Wang Lin is the real homewrecker who forced his way in. Xiao Jibo sneers. Wait, didn't you dump Shen Youchu back then for some rich girl?
You abandoned Youchu for a rich family to go abroad. Chen Ze looks incredibly guilty. He quickly spouts excuses, claiming he'd never have left if Wang Lin hadn't interfered.
Seriously? Xiao Jibo scoffs. You got your timeline completely backwards, buddy.
Even a dog wags its tail, yet Wang Lin loved her with his entire soul. And in the end, she wouldn't even look him in the eye. Xiao Jibo glares.
I hope you really didn't love him, because once you realize what you've lost, you'll learn what true regret feels like. Watching his best friend defend him like this, Wang Lin remembers how Xiao Jibo broke down completely after first learning of his death.
He wishes he could tell his brother to stop wasting time on this heartless woman.
She simply doesn't care. Meanwhile, Xiao Jibo is so furious, he wants to tear
both of them to shreds. Wang Lin knows the deep, burning hatred in his heart. He hates how cowardly Wang Lin was, and how ungrateful this woman is.
Shen Youchu looks at him with dead eyes, coldly stating, I don't love him.
Xiao Jibo sneers. I seriously hope you remember every word you said today. Don't regret this for the rest of your life, he throws down those icy words.
Clenching his fists, he turns and storms off. Shen Youchu drives back to her office.
Drowning in her usual endless work, a massive hangover leaves her head absolutely pounding.
After a quick post-meeting break, she orders her secretary to brew another cup.
Extra strong coffee. While waiting for her caffeine fix, she pulls out her personal phone, which has been dead quiet all night. Wang Lin's ghost floats over to peek. Chen Ze invited her out for dinner.
She shoots back a quick text, declining because she's busy tonight.
After hitting send, she keeps staring at the screen, scanning through all her past messages and missed calls, searching for something.
What is she waiting for? She lowers her eyes in silent thought.
Just then, her secretary Liu Ruyan walks in, carrying the freshly brewed coffee.
Here is your coffee, President Shen. She takes one last glance at her phone.
Looking up at Liu Ruyan, she casually asks if Wang Lin is called. Liu Ruyan is momentarily stunned before shaking her head. No, nothing.
Shen Youchu looks down, sinking back into absolute silence.
Liu Ruyan is deeply puzzled. Honestly, she's probably never asked about him before. Youchu probably never asked about him before, since Wang Lin always chased her. Sipping the hot coffee, Shen Youchu sets her phone aside and dives straight back into work. By lunchtime, Liu Ruyan orders her a bento. Youchu takes just 2 bites before her brows furrow in disappointment. Where did you order this lunchbox from? The Huaxing restaurant. Liu Ruyan hesitates for a second, asking if the food is not to her liking.
She asks if she should order something else, since this is from the exact same restaurant.
Wait, didn't she want the usual place? Liu Ruyan steals a nervous glance at the CEO.
Too scared to say another word, she shrinks back under Shen Yuchu's cold glare. After a moment of absolute panic, the assistant finally breaks and confesses the truth.
Those meals were actually all made and delivered by her husband, Wang Lin. For years, Wang Lin delivered her lunch personally every single day, rain or shine. But
he was terrified she would refuse to eat, so he begged the assistant not to let her know it came from him, which is why she never said anything.
She bows deeply, apologizing for keeping her boss in the dark for so long.
And honestly, this is low-key heartbreaking, no matter how hard Wang Lin tried to cook for her.
If she knew he made it, she wouldn't even touch a single bite.
He spent years walking on eggshells, constantly trying to please her from the shadows. He didn't even care if she loved him back, just wanting her to accept his care. She got so used to his food that any sudden change feels completely wrong now. Shen Youchu simply waves her hand to dismiss the assistant, staring at the cheap box. Looking at the generic restaurant food, her expression turns incredibly complicated. Wang Lin's homemade meals were always arranged beautifully, filled with love and warmth.
They had that perfect home-cooked flavor. She opens her phone to check for messages again.
Still nothing. Not a single text from him. She slowly sets the phone down.
Shaking it off, she tries to lose herself in work, wrapping up her duties. By the time she finishes, it is already late, so she drives back home.
The house has been empty for 2 days, with only the maids keeping everything spotless.
As soon as Shen Youchu steps through the door, the head maid rushes over. She greets her happily, thrilled that the lady of the house is finally back. The maid offers to prepare dinner, while Shen Youchu quietly slides off her coat.
Handing it over to a maid, she casually asks if her husband is upstairs. But the maid just shakes her head, worriedly explaining he drove off yesterday morning.
He still hasn't come back. Keeping her voice completely flat, she tells them to make dinner.
As the maid leaves, the realization starts to sink in for Shen Youchu.
Did he really not notice she was gone for 2 whole days? She heads upstairs.
Stepping into their shared bedroom, she looks around and realizes the space feels empty.
That's when she notices every single thing belonging to Wang Lin is completely gone. His clothes, his shoes, even his personal items have been completely cleaned out. The man who spent 5 years waiting for her to come home is gone.
The realization hits her like a truck. He has completely walked out of her life. Staring at the lifeless, empty room, she is frozen in place. A sudden, suffocating weight presses down on her chest, leaving her breathless.
Slumping onto the sofa, her eyes land on his diamond wedding ring under the light.
It's the matching half to her own ring. Trembling, she slowly picks it up.
Looking closely at it, a wave of raw, uncharacteristic emotion washes over her eyes.
Clenching the cold metal tight in her fist, she looks completely lost. She probably never expected him to actually give up, but now she is back at work. Right in the middle of a morning meeting, her assistant, Chen Ze rushes in.
The second the meeting wraps up, she hurries back to her office.
Out of nowhere, Chen Ze shows up, leaving Shen Youchu pretty surprised as she asks why he's here.
Chen Ze puts down his coffee and walks right over to greet her.
He teases that since she was too busy for dinner yesterday, he had to track her down in person.
Shen Youchu sits back down, looking at the massive mountain of paperwork piled on her desk.
She sighs that she won't be done anytime soon, but Chen Ze is super understanding and tells her it is totally fine.
He is down to wait for her, and just like that, time slowly starts ticking away.
Before they know it, 1 hour passes, and Shen Youchu finally finishes all her paperwork. Just as she gets up to take him out for lunch, her phone suddenly starts ringing. She glances at the screen and hesitantly answers the call.
This is her private number, so almost nobody actually has it. The voice on the other end is freezing cold, introducing himself as Jibo. He tells her to get to the police station right now, making her calmly ask what is going on.
Honestly, she has absolutely no connection to Jibo besides her husband, Wang Lin.
Jibo's voice is ice cold as he drops a bombshell. Wang Lin's body needs to be cremated. The cremation process requires a signature, and legally it has to be from the deceased's family.
Since Wang Lin's parents passed away long ago, Shen Youchu is literally his only remaining family.
Even though they signed a divorce agreement, they never actually finalized the official paperwork.
So on paper, Shen Youchu is still legally his next of kin.
Shen Youchu narrows her eyes, asking what he just said, so Jibo coldly repeats himself. He says it again. Wang Lin's body is ready for cremation, and they need her signature. She obviously does not buy it, coldly asking if he thinks these sick games are funny. He tells her she will find out if it is a joke once she gets there, then immediately hangs up. Shen Youchu just scoffs, a mocking smirk appearing on her face. She thinks he is finally showing his face after hiding for 2 days, while Chen Ze softly asks her what happened.
He asks who was on the phone, snapping her back to reality.
Looking apologetic, she tells Chen Ze she has some sudden business to take care of.
She cannot make lunch anymore, which makes Chen Ze freeze for a split second.
But he quickly forces a smile, telling her it is fine and that work always comes first. They agree to reschedule, and she heads straight down to the parking lot to grab her car. She starts driving toward the police station, arriving shortly after. She looks completely unfazed, honestly believing this is just another cheap trick.
To her, this is just a desperate stunt cooked up by Wang Lin and Xiao Jibo to win her back. She expects to walk in and see Wang Lin wearing a smug, scheming grin. But instead, she finds Xiao Jibo standing right in the middle of several police officers.
He looks completely devastated, prompting her to furrow her brows and walk over.
Xiao Jibo gives her a cold look, telling the officers that she is Wang Lin's wife. He hoarsely adds that she can sign the papers.
Annoyed by the whole thing, Shen Youchu demands to know what they are actually doing. As one of the officers tries to comfort her, Shen Yuchu's pupils instantly shrink in confusion.
She really does not get what he means until the officer offers to take her to identify the body. She follows the cop inside. Honestly, guys, I cannot wait to see her reaction.
How is she going to react when she finally lays eyes on Wang Lin's actual corpse? Will she feel even a tiny bit of regret?
Wang Lin's ghost follows them right into the room.
Inside, there's a single bed with a figure completely covered from head to toe in a white sheet.
The body has been sitting there for 2 days and nights in the sweltering summer heat.
The damage to his body is already decaying, and post-mortem spots are starting to show. It will start smelling soon. They strongly recommend immediate cremation.
Shen Youchu just blankly tells them she has no idea what they're talking about.
The officer gently explains that her husband died on the spot in a car accident 2 days ago.
Completely frozen, she cannot even process this sick joke of a message. Her hands clench tight. This is impossible.
Refusing to believe the cold body on the bed is actually her husband, she takes slow steps forward.
Her fingertips tremble as they touch the white sheet, hesitating.
She pulls it back. And there he is, the man whose very face is etched into her soul.
She just stares in absolute silence, looking as cold and detached to him in death as she always was. Not a single tear. But then she remembers them mentioning his death was actually a suicide.
Xiao Jibo scoffs bitterly at her. Did she really think this was just some random accident?
He says Wang Lin was crushed by her coldness and trapped by terminal illness. He gave her his whole heart. He never did a single thing to hurt her, even when she claimed he was ruining her life.
Wang Lin was just a pawn for his family too, yet she made him bear all her toxic rage.
She stands frozen, her eyes cast down.
Looking at the cremation paper, her chest suddenly tightens. She slowly signs her name and watches as his body is finally rolled into the blazing furnace. Honestly, seeing the flames engulf him is low-key heartbreaking. Soon, the cremation is over.
The staff brings the urn out.
Xiao Jibo reaches out, but Shen Youchu snatches it away midair.
She holds the ashes tight, looking at Xiao Jibo with a completely blank stare. He was my husband, she tells him coldly, so I am handling his funeral.
Xiao Jibo steps in front of her, trying to grab it back.
She dodges.
Hugging the urn tight, she firmly repeats that she is taking charge. Returning to the empty villa, she locks herself inside her room, still holding the ashes close. After a sleepless night, her hair is a total mess and her face looks completely drained. Silence. She finally stands up and walks out. But as she heads down the stairs, her foot slips and she tumbles straight down. Yet her first instinct is to shield the urn with her body to protect it from any impact. Brushing herself off, she carefully places the urn on the main table in the hall. She personally inspects all the funeral supplies, since Wang Lin is scheduled to be buried tomorrow morning. With so many preparations left, Xiao Jibo arrives at the house early next morning. Soon, Chen Ze rolls up with some classmates, but Shen Yuchu's eyes never leave the urn. She remains completely silent. Chen Ze glances at the table, pursing his lips with zero respect for the dead. He suddenly says this might be for the best, since Wang Lin won't suffer from unrequited love anymore. He even boasts that nothing stands in his way now, making Xiao Jibo's eyes turn red with rage. Glaring at Chen Ze, Xiao Jibo's voice drops to a freezing cold as he reminds him the husband is not even buried yet. He snaps at the homewrecker for celebrating his future over a corpse and punches Chen Ze dead in the face. Chen Ze gears up to swing back, but before he can even speak, Shen Youchu suddenly cuts them both off, her voice low and completely devoid of any emotion. Shen Youchu coldly tells Chen Ze to just go home, but Chen Ze steps forward to explain. He claims he didn't mean anything by it, thinking this would be the best way. A clean break for everyone. But he warns Youchu not to blame himself. Youchu just glares back.
Leave immediately. His voice is chillingly dark.
Chen Ze tries to grab his arm, but Youchu smoothly sidesteps to dodge the touch.
Xiao Jibo steps in to help Yichu handle all the heavy preparations for the funeral. Looking at the food served by the maids, Youchu suddenly remembers the past 5 years.
That familiar taste of home-cooked meals had silently taken over his entire life. Every single taste bud was ruined for anything else. Then, his eyes drift to their wedding photo.
Where did his partner's bright smile go? Or did he only carry endless apologies? He collapses to the floor, burying his face in his arms as his shoulders tremble.
Maybe Youchu actually remembered his partner's warning to never do anything to hurt him. And to stay far away from other guys, which is why he always came home on time. Or maybe Youchu remembered those little moments, like the first birthday they shared. A custom photo album made with love. His partner had traveled all the way to Youchu's hometown just to learn his favorite recipe. Just to cook it. He had personally made him a bowl of longevity noodles, serving it at exactly midnight. But the fourth birthday, suddenly there are no memories of his fourth birthday. No traces remained, none. Youchu did not spend that birthday with him because Chen Ze called him up that night. He rushed out without hesitation. He pulls out the old photo album, staring blankly at every picture. Such a vibrant life is gone. His cold heart actually feels a sharp pang of grief. The day of the funeral arrives. A depressing drizzle falls as Xiao Jibo arrives early at the graveyard. Holding a black umbrella, he stands silently in front of the tombstone as the crowd disperses. At this point, only Shen Youchu and Xiao Jibo are left standing before the grave. Yuchu's expression is completely unreadable, hiding whatever pain he's burying inside. He quietly asks when the cancer started. Xiao Jibo steps forward, gently wiping the rainwater off the tombstone photo with his sleeve. He explains that during a dinner last week, he suddenly collapsed. Terminal cancer. He probably got that brutal report the day before his suicide, then made one last phone call. He said some strange things, but compared to the disease, what truly broke him was knowing you did not love him. Yuachu barely remembers driving home. He ignores everyone, walking straight up to his empty bedroom. Not a single trace of his late partner remains. He lies down on the cold, hard bed. As his hand blindly reaches under the pillow, he finally finds a hidden secret. It is a USB drive containing his late partner's entire life. Dozens of personal videos and diary entries, and every single one is about him. His hands shake as he clicks through the files. This is low-key heartbreaking. The last entry was written right before his tragic end. He just wanted to spend one last birthday with Youchu, who came home after midnight. Her heart aches with absolute agony as she sits there, carefully reliving every single detail of that fateful day. Xiao Jibo confirmed it. Wang Lin got his terminal cancer diagnosis on his actual birthday. That very night, she handed him a divorce agreement, and he said if he died, he would never love her in his next life, but she coldly dismissed him. Shen Yuchu's heart clenches in pure agony, completely draining her strength. Wang Lin's spirit starts fading. He's still waiting for a real answer. Meanwhile, the maid notices something weird. After the funeral, the president is completely changed. She goes to work and comes home right on time, looking totally normal. But her secretary, Liu Ruyan, senses something's off. She used to work late, but now she rushes home the second it hits 5. She drops everything, and lunches even weirder. Believe it or not, the powerful female CEO is actually packing her own lunch now. And it's in the exact same lunchbox her husband used to bring. While she's buried in work, Liu Ruyan brings in her coffee. She calmly asks if her husband called. Liu Ruyan freezes, whispering no. Shen Yuchu's gaze drops. She whispers to herself, asking if he's still angry, leaving her secretary absolutely stunned by her behavior. Back to work like nothing happened. But at home, she orders dinner served in her room. Always set for 2. Every night, she takes a bottle of fine wine upstairs with 2 glasses. Tonight, she carries the red wine upstairs. But right before the steps, she pauses and looks to her side.
Smiling warmly, she orders snacks for him.
The maid simply nods, at first only focusing on the food request. But then it hits her. Did she just say it was for the husband?
Looking closely, her arm is actually hooked, as if holding someone, her eyes locked on the empty air.
She hums softly and turns to face her.
With a gentle smile, she explains that her husband always prefers having some snacks whenever he drinks. Go make some. The maid literally rubs her eyes in disbelief. Terrified, she asks what she's holding.
The president frowns, her eyes flashing with instant irritation. How can she possibly be so blind when Wang Lin is standing right next to her?
She glances back beside her, falling silent. Then she whispers to the empty air, saying she doesn't blame him.
She just doesn't get why the maid is acting like he's invisible when he's right there.
But outside of these creepy moments, life goes on.
But she continues to act as if Wang Lin is still alive. She coddles this imaginary ghost completely.
Cooking his favorite meals, redecorating the couch, everything is customized for his spirit. Every little adjustment she makes is a painful reminder of how desperately she regrets losing him.
Then, her old favorite white moonlight, Chen Ze, barges into the villa. She ignores him, placing dessert on the couch.
But there's nobody there. Staring in absolute horror, Chen Ze screams that Wang Lin is dead.
How long are you going to keep lying to yourself? He demands, grabbing her arms tightly. Lady Shen Youchu coldly brushes him off, telling him to just go home.
Never come back here again, she warns, because her late husband Wang Lin hates other men in his house.
Chen Ze snaps, standing up and begging her to finally wake up.
Wang Lin has been dead for ages, he yells. Your guilt and regret mean nothing to him now.
Lady Shen remains completely unfazed as she gently pats the empty space beside her.
Honestly, seeing her comfort an empty sofa right in front of Chen Ze is low-key heartbreaking. She tells him to leave, leaving Chen Ze staring blankly, asking what she even means.
I only love Wang Lin, she says coldly, so get out of my sight.
Then what about me? Chen Ze screams, his eyes wide as he accuses her of self-delusion.
Once Chen Ze finally gets lost, she turns her gaze back to the sofa.
But that warm, gentle presence has completely vanished.
She frantically searches the room but cannot find a single trace of him.
Suddenly, her stomach clenches with a wave of intense nausea. She runs straight to the restroom to throw up, entirely unaware a maid is watching her.
The maid immediately slips away, calling Chen Ze to report that the madam is throwing up.
She is totally distracted. She does not even notice the chilling presence creeping up directly behind her. Until she turns. Lady Shen stares her down with a gaze so icy it could freeze blood. Terrified, the maid breaks into a cold sweat.
I am sorry, she cries. It was all Mr. Chen.
He paid me a fortune to spy on everything you and the master did.
Literally tracking your every move. On the master's birthday, he ordered me to spiel into his room.
To plant photos.
I refused, but he sent them to the master's phone anyway, she sobs, making Shen Yuchu's eyes narrow.
Trembling, the maid reveals they were intimate photos of her and Chen Ze.
Along with a pregnancy report, sending a wave of absolute fury through Lady Shen.
She immediately orders her assistant to completely cut off all business ties with Chen Ze.
Talk about instant karma. Overnight, Chen Ze is totally ruined.
Desperate, he hunts for Shen Youchu everywhere, from her company to her villa. He checks her usual spots, her favorite restaurants, but she has completely vanished. Running around like a brainless chicken, his rage has absolutely nowhere to go. Until he finally calls that spy maid again.
He finds out Shen Youchu is still living her usual routine.
A quiet, monotonous cycle between her office and her home.
And every single night, she still has the servants set the table for two. Sometimes she even brings a bottle of red wine up to her room. Always with 2 glasses, waiting for a husband who will never return. 1 year later, on Wang Lin's death anniversary, she brings a bouquet of baby's breath to his grave. Finally accepting reality, she stands there in total silence for the entire day. Night falls, and she finally drives back toward the city. Heavy rain begins to pour, blinding her view as a massive truck suddenly swerves out of control. It barrels straight toward her, and her hands instinctively grab the steering wheel. But in that exact second, he remembers the cold, lifeless body from the police station last year. It's too much. He completely lets go of the steering wheel.
Then,
Boom! A deafening crash. Shen Youchu is instantly swallowed by absolute darkness.
This is low-key heartbreaking. As his soul drifts out, he spots a familiar figure walking away.